Hello and welcome to Property Box News. I'm Simon Evison. Coming up, right to rent checks and the High Court challenge. But first, an interesting piece in Property Wire this week. According to stats from the Halifax, flats have gone up in value quicker than houses lately. The average price of a flat has grown from £157,061 in 2013 to just over £232,000 in 2018. That's around £75,000 growth. Now, before you all go rushing out looking for flats, bear in mind that they only account for just over 15% of all home sales. 6 in every 10 property sales last year were either terraced or semi-detached properties. From an investment point of view, your bog standard terraced property is still your best bet when looking for multiple exit strategies. Popular in the private rented sector with a good rental return, and there's the added bonus of reasonable capital growth on average across the country. According to the same research by Halifax, it's 41% growth since 2013, and that is just over £60,000. Also, terrace properties remain the most popular property for the first-time buyer because they are the most affordable at £208,000 across the country. Of course, in many areas they're half that and even less. So if flipping is in your strategy, keep hunting for the distressed terraced homes. Now, right to rent, it seems the government is taking their controversial policy seriously. Over £265,000 has been collected in fines since its countrywide inception last year. Figures from the Home Office show that 405 landlords have been fined, and that means an average fine amounts to £654 per landlord. But the rules are being challenged in the High Court in London. The RLA is supporting an application by the Joint Council for the Welfare of Immigrants, and it's being heard this week in the High Court. Both organisations argue that the policy discriminates against foreign nationals, especially those such as the Windrush generation who cannot easily prove their right to remain in the UK. RLA research shows that 4 in 10 landlords are put off renting to foreign applicants, and that some British people without passports are also being discriminated against. David Smith, Director of Policy for the RLA, said, "The Windrush scandal has shown that even trained immigration officers can make serious mistakes. This highlights how inappropriate it is to demand that untrained landlords become enforcers of government immigration policy." Chai Patel, Legal Policy Director at the Joint Council for the Welfare of Immigrants, believes that the policy is actually counterproductive as it forces people into dealing with less scrupulous landlords. He said the right to rent scheme imposes costly red tape on every landlord in the UK, and the government has no evidence it's working. In a recent report on the scheme, David Bolt, the Independent Chief Inspector of Borders and Immigration, concluded that the right to rent policy has yet to demonstrate its worth as a tool to encourage immigration compliance. And he went on to say that the Home Office is failing to coordinate, maximise or even measure effectively its use, while at the same time doing little to address the concerns of stakeholders. So this story is going to run and run, and we'll keep you updated on it. And in the meantime, what have your experiences been with right to rent? Leave us a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. And finally, the royal wedding has come and gone, and the happy couple have tied the knot and they're busy setting up home. So if you fancy a property with royal connections, here are a couple to consider. Ashton Hall in Yorkshire once hosted Queen Mary on her way up to Scotland, and this has the principal 2-floor, 2-bedroom flat for sale at £575,000. There's commanding views to enjoy of the Dales, a grand entrance hall and private terraces. Meanwhile, in Scotland, the house of the Northern Gate, where the late Queen Mother sought solace after the death of her husband, is also up for auction on June 28th. There's a guide price of just under £700,000. And for a truly regal feel, how about this stucco-fronted Grade 2 7-storey house that is opposite the side entrance to Buckingham Palace? The location commands a mind-blowing price of, wait for it, £65 million. And until it's sold, you could rent it for a mere £35,000 per week. What's the cash flow on that? Anyone? Anyway, One last thing in case you missed it, after widespread speculation a few weeks ago, the Bank of England did not put the interest rate up. There is another review coming up on June 21st, so we'll see what happens there. That's all from me. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Goodbye. Detached properties. No, that doesn't make sense.